Hi, welcome to the third episode of Psychiachix. This week, we're going to be talking about breakups and loss, the way it might make you feel, why that is, and the sorts of things we do to try and cope with that. But first, Natalie has a message.
Oh yeah, I do. I want to send a shout out to all our fans who sent us dick pics from the last episode. So thank you for that. I think, because we're talking about breakups, I think we should maybe leave the dick pics out of it. But we will definitely come back to your very amusing emails another episode when we might have a guy on, which might be actually quite fun.
I was sort of joking when I invited dick pics, but thank you.
Doesn't matter, we got them. So.
Yeah. I mean, we asked for them, so
yes.
They will come.
Yeah.
they will come.
Right, so I doubt there is any human alive who hasn't experienced loss in some form. One of the greatest losses a person can go through is a breakup. Obviously, a bereavement is another one. And I'm sure everyone has experienced some very, very intense emotions during those experiences.
Or as Kirsty said, losing your lip gloss.
It was a very sad time. It's a very intense thing to lose when you need it.
Yeah, so people can often experience a whole range of emotions. So it's very normal to feel things like anger, rage, sadness. What sort of things have you guys experienced when you've had loss?
So my last breakup, I felt like the world was ending. I felt like I was in a big fat hole and I was going to die. I wasn't going to survive. And how could I go on with my life? I was having like an existential crisis. Like I had to take time off work. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty extreme.
Painful.
What about when you lost your lip gloss?
Well, when I lost my lip, I haven't actually lost the lip gloss for, I mean, how old am I? 20. I haven't lost a lip gloss for about 16 years.
I was not expecting that at all.
I guess I haven't lost a relationship for that long.
It's interesting you say that, Kirsty, because there are many strategies people employ to avoid loss.
Wow.
Maybe we'll come back to that in a bit.
I was going to come to that, Dr. Sakal.
Yes, yeah. But why is loss so painful? You know, what is that about?
What does it say about you when you lose something? I don't know, do you lose part of yourself or do you lose someone else? And if you sort of feel like you've merged into the same person or part of the same person, then I guess inadvertently you feel like you're losing a part of yourself.
She's talking about her lip gloss still.
Only lip gloss.
It is a part of yourself. Well, yes, there certainly is. There's a school of thought that when we're babies, we're unable to differentiate between ourselves and the other. So we sort of merge with our caregiver, so our mum or our dad, and they aren't a separate person. They're a part of us. And actually, when they remove themselves from us, it literally feels like a part of us is being ripped away. And not only that, there's a real threat that we might not survive. If mum goes away, I'm going to die. A baby's going to die.
Well, it's funny that you say that because, you know, from a female perspective, you know, years ago, if you were in a relationship with a man having a husband and he died or you broke up or you divorced, there was a real threat of you not surviving because, you know, you were just the wife. So, you know, that's even in like woven in society, that's still a thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's still, I guess it still goes on, doesn't it? This, even if you know that you'll be okay, I guess this idea that society says you won't be as a woman. Do you think that's still there then? That like that fear underneath that we're not okay on our own?
Yeah, I definitely think there is. I think these sorts of things that are kind of bred into our evolutionary survival do get passed on through generations. And back in a time where actually a woman did need a man to survive, e.g. they earned the money. If we go back really far, women needed men for protection from things like rape, from, potentially murder.
They needed them to go and hunt and gather.
Yeah. It was a really, really, I love a good hunter-gatherer, I do. It was a really real serious threat. If someone else, if my partner is lost, I might not survive.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when I had my breakup a few months ago, I literally felt like my arm had gone for a bit. Like it had gone. I was just like, well, just give up then. Like, this is shit.
I remember,
guess,
sorry, go on, Kirsty.
No, I guess it creates like an intense panic, that separation, I guess, that we talked about. And if that was difficult the first time round, i.e. mum, caregiver, and it's kind of replayed, and you don't know kind of who you're going to be or how it's going to feel after it happens, it feels really unbearable.
It's horrible.
And I guess that's the panic and the anxiety that you experience when someone kind of moves away from you. Quite intense.
Unbearable is a great word. You just cannot.
It feels unbearable.
I remember shortly after my breakup, one of my light bulbs went out, and I remember just thinking, I don't know how to change a light bulb. I'm gonna be in darkness forever.
I thought you meant your light bulb went down. Never dim your light, Chloe. Never.
No, it was a very physical light bulb in the bathroom. And I was thinking, holy shit, I'm going to be pissing in the dark forever. I can't do this. I can't change a light bulb. But of course I can change a light bulb. What a ridiculous thought. Of course I can change a light bulb.
You just go on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I will survive without.
Yeah. When I broke up with my boyfriend, we lived in the same flat. So he moved out and I was in this flat on my own, with all the trinkets of our relationship just staring me in the face. It was hell. And the boiler broke. And I'm not good at fixing boilers. I literally had a fucking meltdown. I'm going to have some bug. And I just went on YouTube and I fixed that motherfucker.
Yeah, you did.
All by myself.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great feeling. Yeah.
But I bet you went through the whole saga of, I'm not going to have heating.
I'm just going to die of frostbite.
Do you know who I blame?
Who?
I'm gonna blame someone.
Oh, go on then.
I got a bone to pick with Disney.
Oh.
Anyone? Because I have a 3-year-old and we watch a lot of Disney, and I switch a lot of Disney off, and I get into a rage about a lot of Disney because, like, what on earth are we teaching? Like, it's been there in our culture from the beginning, just planted in our subconscious for years and years that we are not complete. We're not complete unless we find a man.
Do you love it when Disney films end when they get married? Like, oh, it's finished. You've completed it.
You completed.
Well done. And this is the fear. This is the loss, isn't it? Because if you're taught to think that you're only complete when you find someone, how are you ever going to tolerate being on your own?
Yeah. Actually, a little fact for you. Frozen is the only Disney film where the love is between sisters rather than a man and a woman.
They're moving forward. I mean, they had a black princess like a few years ago. I nearly fell off my bloody chair. Tell you what else Disney is very guilty for is unrealistic expectations of hair.
Yeah, come on.
I
wanted hair like Ariel. Well, didn't have.
Yeah. Kirsty, you sort of got, Kirsty.
Give me some perks.
Yeah.
Aerial hair.
So so when we have these feelings, and as Kirsty said, they're unbearable, what kind of things do people do to sort of make them better, avoid them, negate them, soothe them? What kind of stuff do people do?
I suppose we can come back to something Kirsty said earlier. People might try to stop the loss from happening in the first place.
Oh, yes.
Very common.
Just don't have the loss at all.
Yeah, don't ever lose.
Never lose your lip gloss. Okay?
But ultimately, it's not possible to never lose because, like we always say, everybody always dies. Everything is always lost. But people can try really hard to control others and their environment to stop loss. And it can be quite damaging, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a dynamic you see, once again, in abusive relationships a lot, when someone can be very controlling to stop the other person from leaving. Or we tolerate mistreatment because we're so afraid of our partner leaving.
Well, in my case, it wasn't abusive or anything. What was happening was I was getting really bad anxiety to the point where I just wasn't functioning properly. And that was more appealing, which is, if anyone's ever had anxiety, it's horrendous. That was more appealing.
Can I be in the anxiety club?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was more appealing than the loss, because the loss was just unthinkable. Couldn't do it. I'll just have panic attacks instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That with suicidality, don't we? In our jobs, a lot of people find it more bearable to think about killing themselves than to experience the loss of a loved one.
Or just
Absolutely.
Emotion.
Absolutely. And you can see how people's minds kind of move through all of these directions of like, how do I avoid this potential awful feeling? And yeah, sometimes one of those awful, ways of avoiding is suicide.
Yeah.
Why is it so painful?
Rather die.
Why?
Go through it. Yeah.
Or there's another way. You can just numb those feelings. Just numb them into oblivion.
How do you do that, Natalie?
Oh, opiates. I mean alcohol.
Alcohol, opiates,
benzos. I mean, they all do the same thing, but people can turn to that kind of stuff. Hard partying. Yeah, Chloe's on the sauce. Because they work. They're not good. They're not good coping strategies in the long run, but
they do temporarily stop the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no shame, by the way. There's no shame if you find yourself using all these strategies. No. Loads of people do it. It's not helpful in the long term, because you will eventually have to face the loss. But lots of people do it. Sometimes things are so unbearable that one has to escape them.
Yeah. Another type of person that I am very familiar with, I had a friend who was like this, who basically would just hop from one relationship to the next. So he was really proud, like told me this with like pride, that so his previous girlfriend, I think he'd gone out with her for like 6 years, and he was like, and then so it was his current girlfriend, I met Sarah within 9 hours of breaking up with Emma, and I was like, dude.
Yeah. So I guess there's like an avoidance, isn't there, as well? Like maybe like this active destruction of something before you can go through the loss. So I guess there's never letting yourself have anything that's worth losing in the first place.
Yeah.
Is one way someone might live.
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic that is very common, actually, Kirsty. Destroying something before it can be lost.
Yeah,
it feels really inviting, and it gives the person control, doesn't it? So they don't ever have to be on the receiving end of the loss. They get to control.
Yeah, I've certainly been there. When you feel your partner sort of pulling away a bit, you push them away. Yeah. So I'm not going to let them pull away from me. I'm going to push them before they get a chance to leave me.
Sweet, sweet control. It's all really distraction, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just prolonging the time it takes you to actually, when you get to the point you actually have to face it and feel it and experience it and be miserable for a bit.
You talked about those panic attacks now and that kind of feeling, but it's almost like it's the sign that you're sort of in the right place. Like you've sort of touched on something that needs to be faced. Yeah. And you can withdraw from that and you can move away and you can kind of distract yourself for a bit, but ultimately,
it never goes away.
It never goes. It kind of just keeps coming back.
It'll come back and bite you in the ass. Don't even worry about that.
Yeah, it's true. You can take all the opiates and the alcohol, and it'll make the pain go away. But when you stop taking them, the pain's going to come back in strength.
What's our message to people?
What's
the point in this?
Yeah, this isn't a very cheery video, is it? It's like you will face.
I know.
You will lose shit, but you will be okay.
Yes,
you will survive. Like you will survive, and you will be okay. You just think you won't, but you need to trust that you will, or believe your friend, because you'll have a friend that will tell you it will be fine, and you just need to believe them.
Well, that brings us on to how you deal with this thing, and you've summed it up perfectly. It's being okay on your own, knowing that you are. It sounds really cheesy, but like you are enough. You haven't lost your arm. You've still got your bloody arm, still there.
Yeah.
and you're not a baby anymore. You don't need to feed you to survive.
You are not a baby.
You can survive without someone else. You don't need somebody to give you milk, even though it would be nice. Like,
oh, I wouldn't mind that.
You will survive. You will be able to change the light bulb. You will be able to fix the boiler, and
Yeah.
you will be able to feed yourself, and
Yes.
you'll still be complete.
Because you're a grown-ass person.
But it is going to really hurt. But that's okay. It's okay to cry, and it's okay to not be okay with it.
And it'll sting, and it'll come in waves. And sometimes you'll feel better, and sometimes you feel awful. But those waves, they seem to get sort of further in between, and sort of their duration is less, and it'll just seep away. And then you get on Hinge, and well, watch our other episode about how you deal with bloody Hinge. But anyway,
I think there is, these days, we're not in the West, we're not so good at talking about our emotions, and I certainly have spoken to people who didn't know that it was normal for breakups to be so painful. They didn't know that loss, that was a normal thing, that they thought there was something wrong with them. But actually, talk about it again, share the suffering. We all experience the suffering of loss.
I did get into bed when I was at uni. I did get into bed with one of my friends because it was just so painful. And I remember, and I got into bed with her, and I was like, just cuddle me. She's like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And guess what it was?
Yeah. Gosh, so thanks guys. I think we've spoken about a lot. And what are the take-home messages? Loss is really fucking painful, and everybody experiences it. You will get through it if you end up using unhealthy coping mechanisms. There's no shame in it. Everyone's done it. Don't worry. You will survive, in the words of Gloria Gaynor. And see you next time.
bye.
Night.
I definitely have used the rebound method too many times in my life.
I never did that because people didn't fancy me, so I couldn't use it.
Luckily for me, I'm beautiful.
Or you just put out a lot.
Luckily for me, I'm easy.
I'm not very good at. Maybe I should lose things more often.
Yeah, chuck that lip gloss out the fucking window.
Are you a controller?
I get really stressed if I lose a lip gloss. So I like to know where they all are.
It's quite stressful, to be fair.
I've lost my mind enough times, so
yeah.